Hey everybody, I'm Austin Cole.
And I'm Mike Flannery, and this is MoneyTalks. Thanks for joining us this week. We got a beautiful day out here in Germantown.
We're hanging out in the sunshine, guys. You know, one of the most beautiful days of the year so far. So we figured we had to go outside and, you know what, doing our part to stay 6 feet apart here with our 6-foot plastic table in between us, trying to flatten the curve a little bit, guys, and doing the responsible thing. So, but happy to be coming to you again together with Money Talks, because it's been a little while.
Yeah, the virtual Money Talks was in full effect, but yeah, it's good to be back.
That's right. So, you know, guys, we're kind of excited because Mike and I are finding ways to innovate through this situation. You know, what we're really realizing is, hey, things aren't going to go back to normal tomorrow. This isn't going away in the next month or the next 2 months, regardless of your stance on things. It's just seems like it's going to be sticking around for a little while, and we're just trying to find ways to innovate and progress forward, I guess, and still run our businesses and make changes to work around the situation.
Yeah, and the reality is that we're, you know, being creative and innovating to still give a first-class experience to all of our clients. But at the end of the day, the real estate market right now, you know, in the 4-county area, call it, is extremely hot. And you know, I think it's important to give a little bit of an update of just what's going on. What are we seeing with current buyers and on his side, current buyers and sellers, you know, that are running around making it happen during this crazy time of. In order to get into showings, you know, you're signing waivers, wearing gloves, masks, right? It's kind of a unique time to be going in and out of houses, even from a seller's perspective, just to have people in and out, right?
And I think what's interesting about it is, despite all that, the buyers are still out. The market's still popping.
Yeah, and we just wanted to give a little shout out here. I was just reading some data that a good friend of ours, he's a realtor with the Wisconsin expert team at EXP, Fred Seeley, was just talking about you know, the number of homes that are on the market currently and how many of those are under contract.
So he specifically posted some statistics in Waukesha, which that there was 56 homes for sale total, of which 51 were under contract, and there's 5 available. So I went ahead and ran some stats on some other popular municipalities with first-time home buyers. So I just went into MLS and I looked at all the properties on the market between $125,000 and $300,000, right?
Yep.
Kind of the bread and butter of real estate, especially for younger buyers, which most of our following is. And here's the stats, guys. So just kind of working through Waukesha County, we got 6 available in Menominee Falls and 27 are under contract. So a huge amount under contract there. We got 7 in Brookfield available, but 17 under contract. And then working our way a little bit north, where I live here in Germantown, we've got 2 on the market in Germantown, and then we got 8 under contract, and up in West Bend, 10 available and 29 under contract. Moving over to Ozaukee County, then 11 total in Cedarburg, of which 8 are under contract and 3 are available. 3 available in Grafton, 3 under contract, 3 available in Port Washington, and 10 under contract. And then, of course, Milwaukee County. We all want to know what's going on in Tosa. It's kind of a hot spot. 61 total in Wauwatosa, of which 47 under contract and 14 available to show. And then let's throw West Dallas in there too, because that's still pretty popular with first-time buyers as well. 57 under contract and 20 on the market ready to show.
For all of you watching that are possibly first-time home buyers, what we're saying is when a seller lists their home, right, under contract, meaning that they've accepted an offer and that transaction is now underway. So essentially, it's not on the market for anyone else to look at, right? And deals fall apart, things can happen. But you know, right now it's an extremely important time with everything going on to not only understand that there is a lot of competition out there, but the good news is that with all of these homes, especially the busy weekend that most all of us probably had in real estate this weekend, you know, there are a lot of buyers that are getting accepted offers at this point. And so it's a really, really good time to get out there and start looking, because if there was a ton of homes that weren't under contract, right, it'd be kind of a different situation. So I think it's important to understand what he's saying by all these homes are under contract, meaning that there is somebody's offer that's being accepted, right? And that's a good thing for buyers.
These are going to result in sales, right? And I think a good point to bring up too is, you know, we had kind of a cold, crummy weekend. You know, it wasn't a beautiful day like this on Saturday and Sunday. And despite that, we still had a really busy weekend. I had the busiest weekend of my year so far. I wrote $750,000 in purchase contracts between 3 different deals, which is a pretty big weekend for a realtor. And I think it shows that the general mentality between things is, hey, business is still running. we're still cranking things out. And I think people are maybe getting a little stir crazy with all this as well. Want to get out of the house, see some houses, and make a change, right?
Absolutely. And just like we talked about when we, I think we were talking with a few other colleagues on a previous episode, that when you're in a quarantine type situation and you're not in an ideal living situation, right, it starts to make the thoughts start to stir up, right? And so I think a lot of people are realizing, wow, it'd be really awesome to have a house right now, and I think it's completely doable. And that's where it comes into getting with somebody that can get a strategy put in place for you, because it's not the easiest time. As you know, a lot of these houses that are listed for sale aren't staying active for very long. They're accepting contracts and accepting offers relatively quickly, and so it's really important to have just a strategy versus just going out there and looking, not realizing that you're possibly putting an offer in against 10 other people, right? I mean, that's pretty common, especially for what we're entering right now, which the spring market still happening. Now we're going kind of starting into the summer months, and hopefully it only gets busier, and that's kind of what we're seeing.
I think we're almost going to have sort of a delayed market, maybe something that we have that true open up of the market, maybe just a little later in the season. Maybe we're thinking June or July, especially seeing as how, those are usually the months when we got our big events, Summerfest, 4th of July, fireworks, things like that, and it's not looking like any of that's going to happen, and I think the choices for entertainment are going to be limited, and honestly, buying a home is something that can be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
It's a form of entertainment for people too. So,
with that being said, what we wanted to go into today was some of the statistics, right? Kind of understand where we're at right now, but then also kind of forecast a little bit, maybe the next 60 or 90 days. That if you are thinking about getting out there, thinking about buying a house, there are a lot of things that are a little bit different, and that may continue to stay different as we kind of navigate through the state reopening up at the end of this month, and kind of figuring out just how that plays into our local real estate market.
One thing I want to drive home too is that we've got good news on both sides of the transaction. Obviously for sellers, we know that when we've got a shortage of inventory, that drives prices up. You got a high level of demand, and that's never a bad thing for sellers. But on the bright side for buyers, a lot of times things can kind of get twisted, and you say, oh, well, maybe it's not a good time to buy. And I think it's absolutely the opposite. I mean, to see that the real estate market is that hot and that things are appreciating, all of these properties are being bought by somebody. So buyers are buying these properties, and as this market progresses forward, we're seeing appreciation. So even if you're on the buying end and you feel discouraged that the competition is so high and you're paying a little bit of a premium, I guess relatively speaking, the reality is you almost have instant equity with every week that passes because things are appreciating at such a quick rate. So I think it's a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely. And just thinking about our title, Money Talks, right? It's not just about real estate. It's more so just about how to be savvy, and we obviously use the real estate vehicle to do that. But I think it's a really good time to look at, what does the next 5 years look like from an economic perspective for our country, for just on a global perspective. There's so many different ways to look at it, but the number one, safe bet, relatively speaking, is real estate. Right, and so we've got this really cool opportunity of our generation, who we deal with a lot, getting into their first homes and realizing that it's a pretty smart decision, obviously out of the gate, right? Because you're not renting or dumping money down the drain, but then also the long term, 4 or 5 year plan there is exactly what you just said, right? You're going to get an appreciating asset for in most cases, right? There's always properties that won't hold value, but it's extremely smart time to start thinking about it and to get out there, because it's a lot of fun and we're seeing a lot of action.
Let's talk about how resilient our society has been throughout this crisis here as we're progressing through it here. When this all first started happening, there was sort of low morale, right? We sort of had this general idea that the economy is going to crash and we're going to have a lot of problems with money. And there's definitely a lot of truth to that, obviously. But at the same time, we're finding that there's a lot of innovation coming out of it where we're just finding ways to survive and still thrive throughout it. And companies are finding ways to continue to keep employees on board, to continue to innovate and stay relevant and keep jobs available and keep our economy running despite the changes that we're facing facing right now. And I think that's a really positive thing to really make note of, just to see that level of resilience in our society and see people come together and find a way to make it work.
100%. And the example that I'd give, I had to buy something from Best Buy, right? I was helping my brother mount the TV. We went and got a mount. Obviously, you can't walk through the store, but their app, right? I was just thinking about this. Best Buy is a big box retailer, right? So the space that they have for their stores is usually pretty large. Most of their items are on display, right? And I thought it was pretty cool that it was an order that we placed on an app, right? We drove up, there was a line of cars, and they had those people in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And I thought to myself, I'm wondering if they're gonna possibly not need all that space.
Why
now
wouldn't it always be that way? Why wouldn't you just always shop that way?
And that's what I'm getting at with some of the technology that we have to offer on our end of it. Doing loans, there is a lot of it that can take place in person, but Fairway being a company that is so innovative, has some incredible technology where you can basically do the entire document upload process, signing documents, everything short of closing the loan in person. You can pretty much do from your phone, and that's pretty awesome to be able to use that in a time like this. Now, it's not for everyone, right? But it's an option that exists to make it as easy as possible. And that Best Buy example blew me away, because there are a lot of businesses that are thinking about doing, or I shouldn't say doing, but keeping these changes as their business model goes forward. And I think it's smart to look at it that way.
Yeah, and another really positive thing I think comes out of it is going to be workplace changes for people that I think are going to lead to a better work-life balance, because we're realizing that, you know what, you can absolutely get things done out of your home. What you said, there was a company that said that if you want to just work from home forever, you can now.
Twitter, yeah. So Twitter came out and said that their employees have the option to work from home for the rest of their employment if they so choose. Not that you have to designate that you're going to do that or not, but it's the option that they're seeing productivity out of people that are not going into the office space, right, and now working from home because they were forced to. Now they're realizing there's some positive to that, and I think that is just a great way to look at any negative situation, right? Myself, I always try to find the light at the end of the tunnel. I think some of these bigger corporations, bigger businesses, even restaurants, are starting to figure out, hey, this to-go order type of pickup stuff is actually more convenient for the client, and I think it's why Amazon has done so well, right? Because it's all done from your phone. It's easy. You don't see anyone, and it comes to the door. And so I think our people are starting to really dive deep into whether that's going to be how they're going to operate their business going forward. And I, once again, think that is brilliant, because God forbid something like this happens again, you're not shifting from one paradigm to the other. You're just operating your business in a world where in-person contact is not what it once was.
I think that's a great place to stop and wrap it up, guys. So,
absolutely.
Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Again, Austin Cole here.
Mike Flannery, appreciate you guys. This has been Money Talks. We'll see you guys next week.
I think we nailed it.